Good afternoon, traders. This is the part two of bull trend correction from today, March 10th. This is MRStrategies. I'm Michael. I spoke to you guys earlier. I want to quickly show you the 15-minute chart and give you an idea of how, and I talked about patterns, recurring patterns, and trying to stay aware of them, at least do a little back search on them. And you see these arrows coming in here. That is resistance from the last time we were up here, and I am going to bring this in really fast so you guys can get a much better understanding of how this played out probably a week ago or so. Okay, it was a big area when we started to fall off of the highs, contract highs. That became an area, a tough area. There it is. That is 3910, and there's another area 3901, which is a super chop zone today. So well, better yet, this is what I really need to share with you guys. Take a look at this range: 910, 70. There, look at the arrows here. Where's that 70 coming in? That is the overnight low. Why is that so important? Well, gee wills. Take a look at this. There's your daily chart. Look where that MA is coming in. That's your eight. That's your 18 MA at 38.74. That's the gap fill. So I'm saying if you get any type of sell off tomorrow, that would be the extreme location for this market to hold and rebuild off it. Only if it comes early. I'm saying, I'm kind of getting the impression the way this thing is moving is eventually this 9MA is going to roll through the 18 and it's going to take price up. Price is already moving up, and then this is a lagging indicator. It's going to follow suit. So, we're just going to have to see. But, I think at the end of the day, I'm really trying to share with you how to understand the heartbeat of the market. You know what I mean? And how to get comfortable with price and how it moves. And by looking at some of these older days, these levels and these areas, you're going to get a fairly good read on it. So I'm going to do one last thing here because I'm going to show you. And I obviously traded it completely the opposite today. The idea is to trade with the trend, but I'm looking for a better deal. And, I'm a little more stingy with my buying prices. And I'm just not the big fan of buying the R1 breakouts and stuff like that, unless, of course, it's nothing else to do and it's the only trade I can take. I did take it, and I showed you from the chart earlier. I played all day. I was playing weakness on these highs because I think you're talking about a move that went from almost a low of 37.20. We're almost back up to third. That's 200 SPOO points, ES points. It's going to run into resistance, and it's rare air. It's thin air. It's going to just keep. And then today's choppy session was absolute proof of the jitters. And they would take them up. They couldn't find the buyers. They would release, and then they break, but they wouldn't completely bust. And they completely showed support at and around R1 or below, which was 92, which was the better way to trade it. Like I said, I'm a creature of habit, and that's how I trade. Like I said, I'm looking for the better bargain on the buy. And the last thing I'm going to share, and obviously I talked about 92, and it held, and there was a vicious move in the afternoon that came out of left field, and it broke from like '07 straight down to 91, stopped on a dime, and then, and it's interesting because I was watching it on the 15-minute chart. Let me see if I can show that to you really fast. This I think it was this bar right here. And be honest with you, I probably should have paid way more attention to it because look at the price. It hit the trend line. Well, actually, I made it at later. It was right in here. And at the time, it looked like we were stuck in this little wedge. And you can see the wedge kept creating resistance. And right here, I thought it was going to be a breakout. And out of left field, they just tanked them. Actually, it was right here, and it took them down to 91, which was our support. I just wasn't on the long side, and that was, at the end of the day, I trade what works for me. And don't get me wrong, I had a couple of losers today, and it's part of the game. And I think as a trader, that's probably the best thing I can share is that you have to be realistic. Not every trade's going to be 100% foolproof, and the high probability locations that I trade from and that I preach provide a little better chances with a little less risk, but they too can fail. At the end of the day, the market's going to do what it wants to do. So, I'm going to show you one last thing. And I think what I have up here right now is a ES, and I'm going to show you the last trade because I went with the short. I'm going to show you why I went with the short because this was really interesting. And I watch these. I try to pay as much attention to because I think the Dow is a really good guide. And take a look at what happened here. And this is the same time, right around here. It was right around close to two, I would think. Was it at the same time? 1351. This actually turned a little later. Wait a minute, am I looking at this the wrong way? There's the 15 high. But, and listen, there's another thing I got to share. I have an extremely good knowledge of this particular platform. And every platform might be a little different. They probably show you something a little different in terms of how I mean, I pay attention to momentum and quick turns with momentum. And right here, off of this last late afternoon high, I got the huge reversal bar, and I got it here in the Dow as well. That's why I took it. When I see both markets doing the same thing, I'm thinking there's a good chance this is going to really, and usually a solid red off of blue is a huge turn. And it turned out to be, and it came right back to my price. They were really close to it. I took some off, and I left my stop where it was. And once this, and I knew that if it failed underneath this ribbon, because this ribbon is usually really big in this platform, it either means that the trend and momentum is continuing to the downside. And you could just see down here, momentum never went positive, although it turned blue. It never went positive. So that was an indication to me that more was coming, and you could see it did, and you could see it develop here too in the Dow. It tapped R3. That's R3. That's the first one of the widest extension on the day. Like I said, in most trading sessions, it's R3 S3. This is rare error. And you know what? It's Dow 32.3. We're talking contract highs. There's just going to be a profit taken. It's been the theme all week. And this one paid out pretty nicely. I kept lowering once we made this little breakdown, I lowered my stop. I eventually got punched out of my balance before profit. And I just kind of watched and I waited for more weakness. And I took it again. And I took it a little bit further this time. And I'm just playing the trend going down and the theme, So at the end of the day, the market ended up holding R1 after everything was done and said. So, these are tomorrow you're going to want to pay attention to the 92, and you're going to want to pay anything under 92. You're going to be looking for 84 and now to the gap fill. I'm sorry, I have so many things in my mind. To the gap fill, and listen, I believe all gaps do eventually get filled. Some the next day, some a couple days, some days way later. And believe me, there's a gap I believe well below the market that's underneath 38.40. I'm not 100% sure, and I'm sure there's some that's even further down the line. But once again, moving averages. What are they telling you? How is price reacting at them? And what the trend is. I'm taking a counter trend shorts. It's a little more dangerous, but that's how I play the game. And there's just two ways to play it, and each way can be quite successful if you're consistent with your locations or your areas and you manage them properly. And that's pretty much the long and short of today. So there's some resistance points up top. We're going to worry about the highs from today up to about 23. Once again, if you get a huge gap higher, you're going to want to maybe take advantage of any weakness of that and then look for the retracement, maybe the settlement, which is going to be somewhere around in here. I don't know if we closed yet. We're pretty close. Yeah, we're closing right now. So we're going to close around 04. So 04 is our settlement. 90 is your support. I don't even know the numbers yet. I'm sure they're going to pop on any second. Doesn't matter. And then, obviously the big one is all the way down around 74, and that's there to gap fill. So I don't know what they're going to do. It's Thursday. This has been it'll be a Thursday tomorrow. It's a huge bull trend acceleration. So the momentum's to the upside. So obviously the opportunities are going up. I'm giving you the stream areas that I think are going to benefit you in terms of if they come into play. So that's what I'll be looking forward. Listen, I apologize if the clarity of my charts are a little off. I'm going to work on that. This is all kind of new to me, so bear with me. And once again, if you like what you see, you know, post a comment. And if you're really intrigued in what we're doing here, once again, there's a lot of platforms available to you. I love QuickPop. I've worked with this program for about 5, 6 years now, maybe longer. I did a lot of work with these charts, and I think they're great. I think it's a great platform, but in a day, it's what works with you. But if they're interested in this, I know the owner is a great guy. I worked with him for about 4 or 5 years myself before we went different directions, and it's all good. So you know what? Have a great day, and I'll try and get in touch with you guys tomorrow at some point. Have a great day.